So in my development, I've got myself into a situation where I'm having to raise support calls to find out what's going on. I probably might have to change direction. So in between that, I was kind of having a listen to Access Alive and KG, and they were talking about basically the different things that they've got on their particular tokens. It was good to see. Um, and I'm just starting to share my screen now. But it was pretty good to see the bullishness on time, to be honest. So what I want to do is go to here and I'll click on that button there, which does something there. If I go here, um, let's have a quick listen to what Axis was saying in terms of like if a token's overbought or oversold. So I'll let him do the talking
Or
for now.
overbought. He's saying undersold, but what he's saying is overbought. um, so basically, one of the ways that I like to do this, and it's pretty simple, you just click on indicators and type in RSI for relative strength index. And then you'll see these two panels pop up. I'm going to close out this one because it's confusing. I'll make this brighter so you can see it more clearly. So this is a 4-hour chart of Axis, and you'll see in this bottom panel this price chart going back to the beginning. Let me clear out some data. This particular chart, this little yellow line is like, if it's down, it's saying that the strength of the market is down relative to past history. And so simply put, if I maximize this out, this is overbought and this is oversold for this particular chart. Now, if you look at other charts, you're going to get different numbers on the right here on the scale. Typically in markets, a typical overbought condition is anything over 70, which is this top white dash line. So technically this would be overbought conditions. Now this particular asset has acted extremely bullish and spent way too much time in the so-called overbought zone, and it spent almost no time below the 30 level down here in the oversold zone. So for this particular asset, you'd have to come in here and do your own analysis, say, hey, across this entire lifespan of this whole chart on the 4-hour, times to sell is maybe when it gets above, let's say, this line right here. And this looks like it's going to give you the 87. So anytime that this yellow line hits over 87, that was typically a good time to sell. Or the converse is also true. Like maybe the good times to buy was when it went under 46, something like this. And then you'll find that as you watch different assets over time, you're going to get different key levels that are going to get hit. So like if I pull up the time chart, for example, we can look at the RSI on it.
And so does that move up? Like, even though it's 70 and 40 or 87 and 46 in relation to that current channel, does that like move up as the asset enters into new channels?
Correct. So like down here, so this is internet money on the 4-hour, and you can see that this coin is getting stronger over time. How do I know that? Because it's making higher lows on the RSI. Do you see how this was the low? Well, this was also the SEC low, and it's the speed at which it hits its low and the rate of the drop. But ever since then, it's just made higher low, higher low. It almost came down and almost tapped it, but it turned around early, signaling strength. So that means that on this sell-off, it actually caught a lot of strength. It made a higher low here than it did here. So this is creating this parabolic trend that you're getting on internet money, or this is time. It's showing up inside of this, and if the trend holds, the parabola holds, this is going to have a harder time getting down into that red line, and it's going to continue to get pushed up like this as time continues on. Now, inevitably, at some point, you're going to get a break of that level, but based on what I'm seeing here, and with the momentum that's in the internet money market, and if no initial sackers dump heavily, I mean, this thing could continue to grind upwards all the way up until like December, even into January, before it even really breaks down, perhaps going into the middle, end of December, if it just continues to hold structure. And for price, I mean, you could be seeing you know, you could probably, I don't know, let's get a measured move here. Something like a test of the highs, maybe an 80% move, somewhere in here before it gets rejected off potentially a resistance at the all-time high. You know, so maybe a big early allocation gets dumped and then you break this RSI trend. But right now, it's in a state of extreme strength. And you'd need to see this price fall rapidly, create new lows, and create floor like lows like this to get this RSI to get weaker. And usually what that looks like is like a pennant where it like gets squeezed, and then breaks down on that trend that started in the red. So that's some stuff to look for in terms of overbought and oversold conditions.
Can somebody from the internet money community clip what he just went through?
So there you go. It's looking like in the near term, but in the time token on PLS is doing very well. So great stuff. Great stuff. So there we go.